Hello everybody, and welcome to the Uncommon Cryptid channel. Here, we will be discussing the lesser-known cryptids of the world. Today, we will be talking about the Redheaded Hitchhiker of Route 44. The Redheaded Hitchhiker of Route 44 is a well-known mystery located in southeast Massachusetts, more specifically, a location known as the Bridgewater Triangle. This area covers approximately 200 square miles between the towns of Rehoboth, Abington, and Freetown, with the town of Bridgewater at its center. This location is known to be heavily influenced by the paranormal, and many sightings of cryptids and other supernatural beings are reported in the area. Most people living near the Seekonk-Rehoboth line are familiar with the legend of the Redheaded Hitchhiker, who is described as being a man with a large build, bright red hair and beard, as well as a red flannel. Another, more prominent characteristic he is well known for is his haunting, sinister laugh. And though there are no known reports of him inflicting bodily harm to his victims, the emotional damage left behind could last a lifetime. This supernatural being can be accounted at or after 10 p.m., and his reported sightings date all the way back to the early 1960s. The author Charles Turek Robinson wrote the book New England Ghost Files, an authentic compendium of frightening phantoms. This was the book that popularized his presence in the Triangle. With background information set in place, let's get into the written accounts by locals who have encountered this phantom of the Bridgewater Triangle. For the most part, many instances involving the Redheaded Hitchhiker are the same. It starts with a person driving down the route, and while nearing the border of Seekonk and Rehoboth, they see a man on the side of the road. Whether it be willingly or compelled by a supernatural force, the driver picks up the man who will get in the back of the car. The man is silent the entire time, even when the driver tries to engage him in conversation. Then when the driver looks into the back seat, he's gone. Filling the silence of the car is a ghostly, disembodied laughter. While the rest of the trip, the driver is overwhelmed with a feeling of being watched. Another account involves a woman driving down Route 44 at 10 p.m. For her, it's just an average night. However, things turn for the worst when a man walks out in front of her car, arms raised, bracing for impact. It gave her no time to stop before colliding with the man. Immediately, she pulled over to the side of the road to see if the man was okay, only to find nothing. There wasn't a single trace of anyone in the area. No body, no marks on the road, no marks on the car, and nothing in the woods nearby. And when she thought about it, during the collision, there was no sound, no markings on the car, no thud, nothing. Now thoroughly shaken up, she walked back to her car, confused and scared. But as she did this, a disembodied laughter echoed through the woods around her. The laughter followed her as she drove off, and not soon after, the same incident happened. The same man runs out into the road directly in front of her car. The car hits him, and she panics and pulls to the side of the road. This time, however, she only rolled down the window and looked out, only to find once more there was nothing. And just like last time, when she drove off, she was followed by the disembodied sound of laughter. To this day, she's still paranoid about driving alone at night. The most unsettling case of the Redheaded Hitchhiker involves a couple driving down the route when their car breaks down. Neither had a phone on them, so the husband left the car in search of a house so he could call AAA. As he walked, he found a man sitting on the side of the road. In this sighting of the Redheaded Hitchhiker, he was noted as looking disheveled and unkempt. The husband asked him if he knew where he could find a phone and explained his situation. The man's only response was an unsettling smile. The husband, sensing something was off, asked him if he was okay. This is where things start to get weird. According to the husband, the man's smile twisted unnaturally and his eyes faded entirely to white. Laughter began to echo in the woods around them, seemingly coming from the man, but his mouth was unmoving. The husband, who at first backed up, was now swiftly distancing himself. As he ran, the man appeared in front of him, then at his side, and then began to chase him from behind, before finally disappearing entirely, leaving behind the faint echo of laughter, before even that subsided as he came up to his car. When he returned, he found his wife curled up on the ground in front of the car in tears. The husband asked what happened, to which she responded by explaining that while he was gone, she turned the radio on to pass the time. At first, music played from the station, but the signal faded out to the sound of static. No matter what station she switched it to, the static still remained. Then a voice came over the speakers. It addressed her by name and then began to mock her and laugh. At first she tried to turn the volume off, but when that didn't work, she ran from the car. She decided to wait there for her husband to return. Both thoroughly frightened, they waited in the car and watched until another vehicle drove down the road. They were eventually picked up and were able to call a tow truck. To this day, they're still scared to drive down Route 44 at night. More specifically, the Seekonk and Rehoboth border. This concludes the telling of the Redheaded Hitchhiker of Route 44. Thank you for sticking by, and if there are any uncommon cryptids you'd like to hear about, please feel free to leave a comment.